welcome to an episode of Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
That makes me Amanda.
And we are in the noisiest neighborhood that's ever existed right now.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what's going on at the current moment.
Someone's car alarm's been going off.
The second we sat down to record, just a ton of things started happening. My cat is having a mental breakdown, quite literally a mental breakdown outside. He sounds like the cats when they go,
oh
like
my gosh.
Crying.
Yes, when they're like in heat.
Yeah.
They're all horny.
Maybe he's horny.
There's nothing worse than a horned up cat. They are so loud.
You know what it was? You walked in the door. He said, Cassidy.
He said, I noticed that you put a mask on your hair last night. And I said, I did do that.
He knew.
I did.
It turned him on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He saw my battle wound. And he was like, she's clearly up to interesting things.
He thought maybe a cat scratched you.
Another cat. And he was
Yeah.
like, I'll fight for your honor.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need that. I need that kind of material support in my life.
Yeah. But really, it was just doing the dishes.
It was just a pan that cut me. Yeah.
Late at night, last night, everyone knows I go to sleep pretty early. I think you guys all knew that. So I'm asleep all night. And that's when Cassidy, who is kind of cat-like, she comes alive.
Oh, I come alive in the darkness.
You do. Like I go to bed, it's 9 p.m. I'm out, and that's when you start doing things.
I feel like an early night for me is like 11 p.m. If I go to bed at like 11, that's like a very early night.
Yeah.
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 So like last night I went to bed at like around 1, and then I was having a lot of anxiety. And so I decided, all right, just laying here having anxiety is not going to help anybody or anything. It's not going to make me feel better. So I'm going to go up and do a task. I had loaded and run the dishwasher earlier in the night. And usually my role is just I'm the dishwash loader. I'm not the unloader. But I was like, I need a task or something to do, like get my head straight here. So I was like, I'm just going to unload the dishwasher. And as you guys know, my fiance is a chef. So we have a bunch of hotel pans, I guess is what they're called, in our...
They're like the deep metal...
Those deep metal
pans
in our dishwasher. I go to flip one of them out, and it slices into my finger so deep. I'm just bleeding everywhere at 2 a.m. I text Amanda, and I'm like, great, this is the worst night ever. I was already about to have a panic attack, and now I'm bleeding everywhere, and I'm going to have to clean up blood because it's like fingers just bleed and bleed and bleed, dude.
Yeah. You were like, great, now I'm going to clean up blood all over my kitchen and all over my bathroom.
Yeah.
I wake up at 6 a.m. to this series of texts. I'm like...
She wakes up 4 hours later.
Oh, no. First of all, I'm thinking, well, haven't heard from you since that last text. Did you bleed out? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what happened.
Imagine I bleed out from a finger wound.
Honestly.
What is it? 1642.
Okay. Genuinely, though, lately, I don't know if it's because the Final Destination trailer dropped, but lately I've been having like thoughts like, oh, what if you're just alone? Like, what if like you were alone last night, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you cut yourself and you bleed out on the floor and no one's around.
My biggest fear is falling in the shower and hitting my head and dying, or being knocked out and then being naked and wet.
That would be the worst.
And just loose. You know it's not looking good.
See, like my thing lately is sometimes I'll be getting up to go to the kitchen for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And when I get up, that's when my psycho animals go, oh, she's going to do something. She's going to feed me.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers run under my legs.
Yeah. 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 Oh,
I'm going to trip. I'm going to fall. I'm going to crack my fucking face on like the counter.
I am the proud owner of a Velcro dog. She literally follows me around the entire house, no matter where I'm going, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm getting ready in the bathroom, she's right behind me and she's silent.
Have you ever fallen over her?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've stepped on her tail on accident. And I'm like, well, girl, like I didn't even know you were there, because she's so quiet. She doesn't breathe heavy. She's like a moderately sized dog.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't like breathe heavy. She doesn't really bark or like do noises like dog noises.
She is very quiet.
She just like lurks. She's like a Dementor or something.
She's like
just
looming
shows,
over you.
Yeah, she just like shows up. And like unless she's like kind of prancing, then you can hear like her like click clacks, click clacks. But if she's like, if she's moving slow, if she's lurking, which is usually that's her base setting is lurk.
Because she probably knows. She's like, I got to go follow my mom, but I don't want her to know.
I think she's just like, well, what are we doing over here now? I mean, she's just a herding dog. That's like what they do, right?
Yeah.
They need to be in the same room as their sheep. And if the sheep are in 2 separate rooms, she doesn't know what to do with herself. Like if I'm watching TV in the bedroom and my fiance is watching TV in the living room, she's going back and forth, back and forth. Like for if it's like hours, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Sydney, I just want to watch a scary movie and your dad gets scared. Can you let me be?
She's like, I need you guys to be together right now.
He's watching some weird guy in Indonesia build a hut or like a cabin with only sticks. That's like the kind of stuff he likes to watch on YouTube.
Nice.
Really into that. And it's like all quiet. It's like all ASMR, like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
you
noises.
did that really well.
Thanks. He watches them a lot.
You're like in your room, like brushing your teeth, and you're like, bing, bang, boom, bop, beep.
I know, you can't stop saying that.
Sorry. It's my favorite song that I don't know any of the words to.
But yeah, I have tripped over her so many times. And it's even worse when we're both getting ready because she doesn't know who to follow around. It's like I'll be like filling my water bottle in the kitchen and he's brushing his teeth in the bathroom. And so she's like doesn't know where to be. So she's just in everybody's way somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my dog's up to usually.
My
the cat knows his place. He stays on the bed. Like 90% of the time he's just in the bed waiting for me to also be in the bed.
No, my monster cat likes to somehow, while I'm mid-step, get in between both of my legs and then wrap around so I just fall to the ground.
Yeah.
Like every time. And I'm like, oh, if I'm alone, this is probably going to be how I die.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming.
You're no George Bush giving himself the Heimlich.
Exactly.
I still don't know if that's a true story. I've never looked it up.
Well, we told it on the podcast, and I also posted a clip of it on our
really?
Instagram because I absolutely love it. So, listen, sometimes you be saying things and I believe them, and then I keep spreading them. You know what I mean?
Just be saying things.
And I know our listeners also spread things that you say because you say it with such vigor.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
Yeah.
Like a con man. It means confidence man. Confidence woman.
You're a little con manny.
Honestly, I wish sometimes that I didn't have like a moral compass.
Yeah.
I have that like
you're like a mild con man. You just say things like when you told me that the Jack in the Box tacos were vegetarian.
Apparently a lot of people thought that, okay? And if you got the cheese removed, they were vegan.
And then I straight up went around to everyone I know and told them that and told my vegetarian friends that.
For the record, I was also con. So you can't really, I was not conning anyone. I was just spreading misinformation.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
I was just being a detriment to society.
True.
I wasn't conning. I wasn't gaining anything from this. Oh, speaking of con people.
Oh.
Did you hear about the dire wolves?
I saw pictures of them.
Okay.
Are they fake?
No, they're not fake. But they're not like real dire wolves. They just genetically modified like some gray wolves to be more like dire wolves.
Oh.
So they didn't like get DNA, they didn't like Jurassic Park it. They were just like GMOing some wolves into dire wolves. Here's the thing. So I read all about it. And for me, I'm like, if you're going to spend money on something that has to do with like animals and conservation, like spend it on actual conservation.
Yes,
right?
Of
like
course.
Save the animals we have here. Like nobody even has an emotional connection to dire wolves. They've been extinct for 10,000 years.
And what was the point? Like, why do we need them?
You know what, Amanda? They were so wrapped up and wondering if they could. They never asked if they should.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
And like it's a fun, quirky little thing. And I think it would be interesting if they did that and then they used it as a platform to raise money for conservation of actual animals that are currently on the planet that are going extinct.
Yes.
I think like that could be like a fun shtick. Morally, I don't know. Scientific, you know what I mean? Like morally, do I think it's right to do this? I don't know. You're asking the wrong bitch. Okay. I'll leave that up to people much smarter than me. But I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're trying to make it just like a gimmick, like Jurassic Park kind of.
Well, let's fucking get some dinos up in this bitch.
You know what? If you're going to do it, go hard.
Yeah,
they're the
go
same
big
people,
or go home.
They're the same people who made the woolly mouse, where they gave a mouse some DNA or modified some gene or whatever that the woolly mammoth had. and gave them the same coat as a woolly mammoth, but they're little mice.
That's probably so cute.
Have you never seen this?
I don't think so.
Oh,
but I really
Amanda,
want to because that sounds really cute.
So cute. Like, once again, morally, guys, I don't know. This is this is a gray area that I don't feel.
Is it hurting them?
No, I think it's. I mean, I don't think so. But like, I think it's just kind of a fucked up, weird thing, like playing God type thing. You know what I mean? But they're so cute. Like,
well,
here's
maybe
one next
God
to a
should
normal
have created
mouse.
one. Oh,
yeah. You can just kind of flip around in there if you need
they're
to look at
really
different ones.
cute. If it's not hurting anyone, I would like it.
I think just genetic mutation in general is like probably something we probably shouldn't touch. But also, what am I supposed to say? That woolly mouse is not cute? I have eyes,
I mean,
people.
Here's the thing. If these little fuckers are running around town, nobody's going to try to smush them or kill them. They're so cute. They probably just take them and keep them as pets. So maybe we're saving the mice.
Know what I saw the other day? Sorry to kind of change the subject.
No, tell me.
I went to the park to read, and I saw someone kick a pigeon. The way I was so pissed, and he was like joking to his wife about it. And he was like, I was hoping some chicken wings might fall out.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Divorce. Immediate divorce. You kick a pigeon.
Here's the thing. I don't even like birds. And I would never hurt a bird.
They were like,
I would never hurt any animal
from me for me to like say anything without actually causing like a legitimate scene. And obviously, this is clearly a violent man, right?
Yeah.
You don't hurt animals for no reason. But just like the way people treat pigeons, it really is disheartening to me.
I mean, I think they're gross, but I also
Why?
They're just like, they're the rats of the sky.
See, I feel like that's you're giving me anti-pigeon propaganda right now.
No. I would never hurt one.
I know, but why are you saying that they're the rats of the sky? What about them is the rats of the sky?
That's just how I feel.
That's just you've been propagandized. I
Maybe,
stand by it.
But aren't they? You don't think they're a little?
Pigeons used to be our friends, and we just left them. We left them. behind.
For the record, I would love for them to be my friend.
But it's like if we just decided we didn't want dogs anymore and we just like let them loose into the streets. And then like generations later, we were like, ugh, dogs are so disgusting and annoying. And like people would just like kick them and treat them like shit.
No, first of all, I would never kick any animal. It could be the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And I would still be like, I love you. You know?
I love you.
I love you. Birds in general, to me, I'm not like a super big fan of birds. I don't know why. They just like freak me out.
I like birds. I like birds a lot.
But like, you know what? Actually, let me tell you something. Pigeons, they are a little like icky to me. I would never hurt one. Would love it for if they want to be my friend. I know they're really smart. They do like the carrier pigeons and stuff. Mm-hmm. Would love that. Bring it back. You know what I mean? Crows are the scariest motherfuckers in the sky.
Because they're smarter. They're smarter than you, probably. They're smarter than all of us.
They're so scary. Like when I walk by a crow, I'm like, oh no.
Crows and ravens are too smart. It's a little spooky.
I'm like, I know they're up to no good.
I feel like they're up to probably no good for me, but good for them.
Yeah, good for them, not good for me.
Yeah, and I support them.
And that's no good.
I'm a little devious myself. And I also wear a lot of black. So like, I don't know. I dig what they're up to. I've
also been like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going a little insane lately. I don't know.
You?
Who knows? The world is crazy, you know?
The world is ending.
The world is ending.
We might as well go a little crazy.
I'm going a little crazy. But I've been like really suspicious of squirrels lately.
Oh, okay. Yes, this is actually crazy people talk. Let's hear it.
Wait, no, I'm scared.
No,
now.
What about them? I'm interested. No, that's the most schizophrenic thing I've ever heard you say, for sure. And that's saying something.
Well, now I don't want to say anything
else. What are you suspicious about them, Amanda? Can we dive into this?
I don't know.
What do you think they're up to?
I just feel like, no, I can't even say it.
No, you have to say it. You're in too deep, frankly.
Okay, so I read an article.
Okay.
Well, I read a headline of an article.
That sounds more right, yeah.
Did not read anything else where someone was like, oh, are squirrels planted here by the government to spy on us? And then it started playing in like that's just that line of the title of the article started playing in my head when I was walking my dog and I was looking at all these fucking squirrels. I'm like, where are these squirrels coming from? There's so many. They're everywhere, and they'll just like stand up on their fucking hind legs and stare at you.
And you ever seen a baby squirrel?
No, actually, I have not.
There you go.
In the wild, I have not.
Because they've been planted by the government.
And then when they're like dead, they're like full. Like I saw a dead one on the sidewalk, and it was just like full dead. Kind of looked like he was sleeping.
What do you mean full?
Like not smushed or anything. He was just like a full ass, like not hurt, not bleeding, just like on the ground, dead.
Maybe he was poisoned.
I don't know.
By
the CIA.
By the CIA. He knew too much.
He knew too much. He was going to tell me.
He learned to speak English.
He was the one. Remember, I sent you a picture of a squirrel that was on a door. He was trying to get inside that person's house.
Yeah.
Also suspicious, first of all.
What is that person
And
up
then
to?
it was in front of his house that there was the dead one. I was like, that was the guy that I sent you a picture of.
The government saw your text message.
I'm just saying.
And said his cover's been blown.
No, I killed him.
Take him out. Take him out.
It was my
You killed
fault.
it. It was your fault. You did that.
Oh my God.
How does it feel?
Not great.
I mean, unless he's working for the government.
I don't know, guys. I've just been I've been noticing it a little bit more. My eyes are on them.
She just wants them to know that she's aware.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Like chances are,
Know
right?
what this is making me think of?
What?
Like when I was a kid, and sometimes when I would be in public, I would randomly think, I know you're reading my mind. Just in case. Just in case there was someone who could read minds. And then I would look around to see if anyone responded. You know what I mean? Because if I'm thinking like, I know you're reading my mind right now, like I'm waiting for
and then
someone
the
to be
person's
like,
looking.
you know what I mean?
Their head
They just swivel over to me.
Big eyed.
And then I'm looking at them like, I knew.
And then you guys are staring at each other,
Uh-huh.
and then they're still reading your mind. You're like, I fucking knew you could read my
fucking knew
mind.
You could read my mind.
And then they're like,
You
oh
dumb
shit.
bitch.
And then they like run.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
what do? 9-year-old Cassidy, best shape of my
You
life.
chase after them.
Definitely not a little chubby and wearing clothes that were absolutely too small for me. Chasing Jason Bourne style after them, you know what I mean? To get to the bottom of all this.
Yeah.
Of all what? I don't know yet, because that's why I'm chasing them.
Yeah. So if I start to chase squirrels down the street, just know that it's because I know that
It's
they
because
know.
she's onto something, guys.
Yeah.
It's not because she's finally fallen off the deep end that she's been teetering on for years.
Yeah.
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 All of our listeners are like, we knew Amanda was going to end up like this one day. We saw it coming.
We saw the signs. We saw the warning signs.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just keep an eye on them.
Because you don't know what they're up to.
Just look at them when you're like walking down the street. You're going to see so many now.
There's not any squirrels in my neighborhood because I live more in like a downtown area.
There will be now.
But when I go golfing, there's lots of squirrels. And one of the places I golf at the most, it's called Hartwell. It's actually where Tiger Woods grew up golfing.
Oh, that motherfucker.
That motherfucker. Maybe you've heard of it? He's known for famously cheating on his wife. Nothing else. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all I really know.
And the squirrels out of Hartwell, they are afraid of nothing.
This is what I'm
Like
saying.
if you have like a little pack of trail mix in your golf bag, they will literally swarm it. They want in.
Yes.
They're scritching, they're scratching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's not a good time.
I'm just they are lurking. They're looking at you. They know what the fuck is going on.
They're definitely looking at you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. They know you know too much.
It's kind of like crows. They're always looking at you too. You know?
God, imagine if they teamed up.
Don't.
Honestly, okay, so like right now, like the US has pissed so many people off that like I think it's like Korea, Japan, and China have all like decided to start working together. And like these are countries that historically have hated each other, right?
Mhm.
There's like mad beef. We do not have the time or the mental capacity to get into why or when or how.
Do
right?
you see my mental state? Please don't.
But this is like what I imagine, like if the crows, the squirrels, and the pigeons, all
pigeons.
teamed up against us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they decide like who's the real enemy here, the humans, specifically.
That's too
these
much
blonde
because
ladies.
that's too much because there you have the land and the sky.
Yeah, and
Also,
pigeons kind of do both.
They
Pigeons
do both.
Be hopping around a lot.
So do crows.
They do hop.
And
Did
then
you know they can talk?
Shut your dirty
You can teach
mouth.
them how to say words.
No.
I can't. Maybe that might be ravens, but one of the two, maybe both. I know ravens. You can teach them words, and they'll like be like, "Meow,"
And
they'll
you're gonna
say
tell
'em.
me that that's not fucking suspicious?
Here's the thing. any bird that talks is suspicious.
Yeah.
And frankly,
and they definitely know too much because they're fucking hearing you.
and you know they're playing it up.
Of course.
They're like, I'm just repeating.
Yeah.
I don't have cognitive abilities. But they do. They're comprehending. They're taking notes. They're biding their time. They're waiting for their opportunity.
Interesting that you thought I was crazy when I started talking about the squirrels. And now here you are. You're on board. You are on board.
I've been convinced. I now am also schizophrenic.
Oh, we are really amping up the conspiracy theories today. People will probably turn this off. Oh no.
Oh, no, we've lost them.
What have they become?
We've lost them.
We're done.
She's comparing global trade wars to pigeons and ravens and whatever,
squirrels.
Squirrels.
Oh my.
Oh my. Well, I know some people that would love this conversation.
Do you know?
I do.
Well, who are they?
And I think that we should say thank you to them because they joined our Patreon.
We probably should.
Where we're even more insane than we are here.
Please don't delete it now that you've heard this conversation.
But yes, I would love to say welcome to our new cool kids. So welcome to Anna Grace P.
Hello, Anna Grace.
Welcome to Catherine M.
Hello, Catherine.
Welcome to Gonzo the Whale.
Yes, Gonzo. Hello.
Respect. Welcome to Mary B.
Hello, Mary.
And welcome to Gary Z.
Hello, Gary.
Cool last name, Gary. Also, Gary, apparently you met Amanda, or you know Amanda.
Yes.
And from what I've heard, we would get along real well.
100%.
So I can't wait to meet you, and we can...
you guys have so much in common.
We can talk about the geopolitical situation together.
Yes, you could.
And thank you to Cassandra, who edited their membership up to get more of that sweet, sweet video content.
Hell yes.
Speaking of content, we have our book club, which is going on right now. We have the first episode released. The second one is out this week. We also have Haunted Helen.
We do have Haunted Helen.
I keep wanting to just call her Flat Stanley because you kept making that like comparison.
Well, it's the reference.
Yeah, that's the reference. Haunted Helen. Helen has landed.
She has.
She's at her first spot. She's
heading to New Orleans, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. She's going on a road trip with one of our listeners to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't wait
to
hear more about it. But if you would like to be involved in any of that, you can obviously join our Patreon at patreon.com/drinkingthekool-aid. Even if you join at just $2 a month, you get bonus content, ad-free content, and get to be involved in things like Haunted Helen. We're not one of those gatekeepers where if you join at the lowest level, you don't get nada.
That's right.
You actually get Amanda's whole S-word series. You get our monthly shot of Kool-Aid. And like I said, sometimes you will be involved in fun little activities.
Yeah, like things pop up here and there.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
Like the squirrels. They pop
up.
Like
the squirrels. They're listening.
They're listening.
They're in your walls.
And so are we. What? Speaking of cool kids.
Ooh, yes.
I do have a birthday shout out from one of our cool kids.
Lay it on me.
Probably from one of our younger listeners because I know that she's been listening since we started. And it is now her 18th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So her mother reached out to us.
I was about to say, does your mother know you've been listening to us?
Her mother reached out to us on Instagram and was like,
we're radicalizing the youth, baby.
Nadia's a big fan. Would love for you to say happy 18th birthday to her.
Happy 18th birthday.
Happy 18th birthday, Nadia.
What a fun birthday.
It is fun.
That's awesome. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great time. Thank you for being a listener for so long. Hopefully we have been at least mildly good influences.
Hopefully.
Probably not on your vocabulary because we both cuss worse than drunken sailors.
It's so true. Yeah. Unfortunately. But that's okay. We love you so much.
And guess what? Words are just words, girl.
So true. So true.
Write your dissertation on that or something. But yeah, happy birthday. Thank you so much for being a listener.
Also, we have a special birthday that we have to shout out.
Super special birthday shout out.
Didn't get the text fast enough last week because it was his birthday last week.
Yes.
But happy belated birthday, TJ.
TJ.
Who is the soon-to-be husband of our friend Kadra from Perplexity Mystery Podcast.
We love a fellow pod husband.
Who we're going to their wedding this year.
We are.
So happy birthday, TJ. Cannot wait to see you.
Happy birthday, TJ. Probably one of the funniest people I've ever met.
I feel like we've hyped him up so much on this podcast before, actually.
I know.
We're like,
Kadra's sitting there like, don't.
Yeah,
say
she's
that.
like,
don't say
shut
more to him.
up.
His head is big enough.
And we're just like, TJ's so funny. TJ's so this. TJ's so that. Sorry.
Listen,
It's
we
true.
love a pod husband.
We do.
We love him.
We do.
What can we say? We've got some of our own.
We do. But we cannot wait to see you guys. And we hope you had the best 30th birthday.
Yes. And you guys, you listeners, will definitely see lots of pictures, videos, and content from that trip to Austin.
Mhm.
I've already had some people send me some recommendation.
Oh.
One of which was a
Baked potato food truck. I saw that comment and I almost had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And they messaged me and were like, if you want, I'll meet up with you there because they live in Austin. I was like, please, let's do it.
Please. Meet up, drinking the Kool-Aid meetup at the baked potato food truck.
Hey, if you live in Austin and in October, we're going to be there.
We'll be there.
We'll be at the baked potato food truck probably multiple times that weekend.
Like if you just stand there all day, like you'll see us at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting our podcast. The only reason we get to keep doing the podcast is because of listeners like you.
That's right.
That's right. And if you would like to support the podcast but don't have a little cha-ching right now, that's totally fine. We understand it. The world is a crazy place. Just leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen and maybe a few places you don't. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit that Spotify. I don't even have a Spotify account, but you better believe I went and reviewed us.
How'd you do that without an account?
You don't need an account to just go on. Or I don't pay for Spotify.
Oh, okay.
So I just went on and hit the 5 stars.
Hell yeah.
Because I think we're 5-star gals.
That's right. And you should too.
That reminds me of for my 30th birthday, my now future mother-in-law, at the time she was just my boyfriend's mom. I went up to Seattle to visit her for my 30th. And she gave me a necklace that has 5 stars on it. And it's so cute. I wear it all the time.
I love that necklace.
Yeah, it's super cute.
That was really cute.
I've been wearing this emerald necklace from my mom a little bit more recently just because it matches my ring so well.
No, it's perfect.
And it's hard not to wear them together.
Yeah.
But whenever I do like a gold stack, like necklace stack, you better believe that.
Well,
5-star.
maybe.
But she wrote in the note, she said, because you're a 5-star daughter-in-law.
That's very cute.
And see, he had to marry me at that point.
I'm not even in this family, and I wish that Margaret would give me one of those with that same note.
You're a 5-star kind of step daughter-in-law
adjacent.
Adjacent, yeah.
I think it would work. Every time me and Margaret get together, we are 2 peas in a pod. So
I love Margaret.
Just saying.
Once again, I'm like very lucky. My future in-laws are really cool. I love them both. They're so different from each other. So
They are.
Like I enjoy them in like very different ways. Like me and my fiance's dad are both like super into like politics and news and stuff like that. And so like we love to argue about like shit like that. Right. And Andrew, my fiance, is always listening and just like, yeah. Attention, doesn't read the news, whatever. More power to you, man. Your life is way better than mine, probably. And then Margaret is just like this super fun, like creative, outgoing, total extrovert, right?
Yeah.
Like knows how to throw a party, great cook, has just like fun ideas. And so it's just, I don't know, they're really lovely.
No, they are.
Yeah.
I love them both as well.
I'm lucky because a lot of people hate their in-laws. And so I got really lucky with that one. Yeah. So enough about me.
But let's talk about
You.
Oh, I was going to say your story.
Oh, yeah, that too. Oh, yeah, my story. Ooh, I kind of have a big one. So, yeah, it's time.
Okay, it's time.
Yeah. All right, Amanda, be honest. When was the last time that you needed to go to the doctor, but you pushed it off?
Well, first of all, you know me. I always think that there's something wrong with me. And I always think, wow, I really should go to the doctor. But yeah, I push it off every single time.
And I'm horrible with it. I'm always like, no, I'm too busy. I'm not. It's fine. It'll go away on its own. It won't. And I just don't need the help.
Right. Who really does? I mean, we think we don't. We do.
Say clearly us.
Clearly we do.
And I think we've all kind of been there at least one time or another. But booking a doctor appointment can feel so daunting. But thanks to ZocDoc, there's no reason to delay. They make it so easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you. So whether you're dealing with a swollen eye, a weird-looking rash, or just a tight pain in your back.
Yes, and you have no idea what it is, and it lasts for 2 full weeks.
Luckily, ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click instantly to book that appointment.
You mean I don't have to get on the phone?
No.
Wow.
Thank God. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Kool-Aid to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Once again, that is ZocDoc.com/Kool-Aid. ZocDoc.com/Kool-Aid.
I am sat and ready.
All right, because today I am doing a cool kid request.
Perfect. Who's the cool kid?
Is one of our perks of being on our Patreon. Your guys' requests get bumped up. Our cool kid Anne.
Okay.
Requested that I cover Jane Toppan, also known as Jolly Jane.
Okay.
Yes.
She sounds jolly.
Oh, she's something. So my sources today were the LowellSun.com, the New England Journal of Medicine, an article by MedSurg J, BBCnews.com, and Wikipedia.
Perfect.
All right, so a little bit about Jane. So Jane was actually born on March 31st, 1854. And originally her name was Honora Kelly.
Honora.
Like with an H. Honora. Honora.
Oh, Honora.
Not like Honora like the movie.
That's what I was thinking of.
In Boston, Massachusetts, in New England, obviously, United States.
And she said, enough of that name. Call me Jane.
Well, we'll get there. So she had an older sister and her family were Irish immigrants. Her mother's name was Bridget Kelly and unfortunately died of tuberculosis when Jane and her sister were quite young. And then her father kind of spiraled out from there. His name was Peter Kelly. And he was an abusive alcoholic, was quite strange, and was actually known in the area as Kelly the Crack. And crack means like crackpot, like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And allegedly, her father, who worked as a tailor, did once sew his own eyelids shut. Why? I do not know.
Squeeze me?
Yeah. So once again, this is somebody who's obviously like deeply disturbed.
Yeah.
And did not recover from the death of his wife. And while he was going through this episode, he did the smart thing. I mean, the smartest thing you can do, and dropped his daughters off to an orphanage / like women's asylum because he just couldn't take care of them.
That's so crazy because that's similar to the Texas cult lady I covered a couple weeks ago. She had a very similar upbringing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So because this was the olden days, when a woman named Anne Toppan was looking for a servant, she rolled right up to the orphanage / asylum and was like, who you got?
Oh, okay.
And they showed her some kids, and she decides that this young lady who she wants to call Jane is the right age and seems to have the right disposition to be a good servant.
Love that she's like, I'm going to roll up to the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pick a kid to be my servant, and I'm going to rename her.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So they did legally change her last name to Toppan. And so now they didn't actually, the reason they did that is they didn't want her to sound as Irish because Kelly was a very Irish last name, obviously. And during this time, there was a lot of discrimination against Irish immigrants.
So she adopted her to be a servant, but like also named her after her.
She didn't even like adopt her. She just kind of took her.
Wow.
Once again,
times were wild.
Olden days.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, the older sister did get left behind because she was too old and not what they needed.
Yeah.
Her sister ended up as a sex worker and was actually killed by one of her Johns a few years later.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So when Jane moves into the house, she's greeted with the daughter of the Toppans. Her name is Elizabeth, who is just a year or two older than Jane. They obviously have very different experiences in the home and have different backgrounds leading up to this moment, but they did become basically like best friends.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a lot of discrimination towards Jane because she was an Irish person and a poor person and a working underage person. So she kind of just had like a shitty childhood altogether, but it did make her a very hard worker. So as Jane gets into her teen years, Turns out that she's like super charming. She's a babysitter for everybody around town. She's a party guest. Like people would invite her to parties. Like, hey, we invited the Toppins. Bring Jane. Like, bring the kids, because Jane's such a good storyteller. She would show up and tell these stories all about her life before she moved in with the Toppins and how wonderful it was. And she was this princess, and she was this, and she was that, and people just like were super captivated by her. And she really knew how to get people to listen to her. This made her very popular in the neighborhood, and people liked and trusted her very much. And they didn't mind when she would tag along with Elizabeth to parties or to social gatherings, even though like that's not really the norm for a, you know, someone who's working in the house versus someone who's living in the house, right? But she really did portray this personality that she was somebody different than the rough upbringing that she actually did have. And this was very charming to people. People didn't know what to believe. They knew like everything was kind of half truths, right? But that was kind of part of the fun.
Yeah.
And
but they knew she was like the help from the Toppins.
Yeah. But at the same time, like there was no TV. You couldn't like talk about the latest episode of Severance at the party, right?
Yeah.
So they had Jane there who would tell crazy stories, and people would just like get drunk and enjoy it.
Listen, that's a great quality to have in a person.
Yeah. Like I said, her biggest trait or most well-known trait was storytelling, or as some would say, lying. But you know what? I think if you're telling an interesting story and you exaggerate a little bit or you lie and it's for the purposes of entertainment, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Maybe a little. But yeah, so she does become like a well-known person in her neighborhood, around her town, and well-liked and even respected. So it made sense that after high school in 1885, Jane was able to enroll in nursing school at Cambridge Hospital.
Now, the question I have is, were the Toppins like paying her, or were they paying for her college?
I think it was more of a room and board situation. Like,
Okay.
you get to live with us as long as you are a servant.
Got it.
And it seemed like she still went to school and had like a semi-normal childhood. But I think that also could have been because she was so well liked. So they were like, oh, people like her. We look interesting because we're bringing her around,
Yeah.
right? We got her from this orphanage. So I think there was kind of some social pressure in play on
Got
the way
it.
that they treated her versus maybe other servants that they
Yeah,
had.
I was gonna say maybe if it was somebody else.
Yeah, like if Jane was a wretched bitch that nobody wanted to be around, they probably would have been like, stay in the basement or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? But she was becoming a part of this society that she never really imagined for herself, right? So she ends up enrolling in nursing school at Cambridge Hospital, and she was seemingly the perfect candidate. All of the patients loved her because she was super charming, right? And all the staff loved her because she genuinely seemed like a very helpful, hard worker. Like she had no issue doing the stuff nobody wanted to do, whether that was, you know, scrubbing the floors or lifting heavy things. But then she also was great with patient care. So she kind of had this dual usefulness because she grew up as a servant. She knew how to do all of these like servant duties, but then she also was a super charming, sweet lady that everybody liked to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was also apparently like pretty tall and like kind of buff.
Hell yeah.
So she was helpful to have around, whether it was restraining unruly patients or carrying heavy things from down in the basement up to the first floor or helping a patient out of bed. She like knew how to do all this. She was very strong.
I mean, she just sounds like someone I would like to be. Really?
Yeah. And that's what's so confusing about what she gets into.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So she was known as a really wonderful nursing student. And because she was so popular with both other students, coworkers, and the patients, she got the nickname Jolly Jane.
Okay.
Yeah.
A very nice, charming,
Yeah.
sweet name.
Once again, her reputation was impeccable.
Yeah.
And that's what's so confusing. Because Jane was unfortunately a very curious soul in a very dark way. She had not had a lot of control over her life, right? She had been passed around. She had an unstable home life. She was kind of always in the process of trying to prove herself to be treated like a human being. And this manifested in her becoming interested in the effects of drugs on the bodies of her patients and how she could control that.
No, Jane.
Yeah. So while she was in her training program, she actually began to mix different drugs, mostly on elderly patients, just to see the reaction in the nervous system of these patients. So she would give them different doses of both morphine and atropine, and she would mix them at different levels to see like how long she could knock people out for, if how like she could make them half lucid, half not. And to get away with this, she would alter the patient's charts. She would alter their other meds and doses. And that's how she would try to account for them being unconscious or having like a sudden decline in their health. How many people she potentially killed with these experiments, we don't know. But she does start on purpose killing people after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Jolly Jane was so well liked, she did end up getting recommended for a job at Massachusetts General Hospital in 1889, which was apparently like a very big step up from where she was working before. And this was actually something that was like almost prestigious that she was offered this. So like I said, her reputation was pristine. People loved her. People wanted her to work with them.
Yeah.
So she had more patience and more responsibility and more trust in her to do whatever she wanted. She ends up taking this position, which of course gives her a much wider pool of patients. And little did they know that she had been drugging her old patients at the old hospital on purpose, and at least a few had died. Once again, we don't know the exact numbers. Jane had also allegedly been assaulting, touching, and experimenting on these individuals. There are some reports that she might have been sexually touching these older patients, like getting into bed with them as they're in this like twilight state or completely unconscious.
What a weird turn she took here.
Yeah. So she starts at this new hospital. Things are great at first, but fairly quickly, this is more of a regulated hospital, and it's not a teaching hospital and all this stuff. So I would assume there's probably some more professionals there, and they're like, hey, seems like you're doing something weird with the meds.
Oh,
like she very quickly gets caught on upon. Yeah. She's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, okay, well, every time you work, there's meds missing, there's patients going unconscious, there's patients overdosing and dying or dying from unknown reasons. So we actually are going to fire you because there's something creepy going on here.
They were not messing around.
No, not at all.
They said, we have an inkling that it's you, so goodbye.
Yeah. So when she gets fired, she actually goes back to Cambridge, but she only works there for a little bit, and she actually ends up getting fired from there pretty quickly too for misusing opiates. Like that's the reason that they put.
Well, she's not doing a very good job of hiding this now.
No, and I think we see this a lot, especially with serial killers, where they get like this confidence. They start getting away with so many things that they're like, oh, I'll get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is usually like their downfall.
Yeah.
Like we saw with like BTK and stuff like that. Like they get overconfident or another great one is Israel Keys.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He was like, well, I've been getting away with this for so long. Like, yeah, I can do a scam and get some money out of this at least.
I also feel like after a while of getting like, not being caught and getting away with things, they almost like want to get caught.
So that is like a psychological thing that people talk about, that there's almost the thrill, which similar to like Zodiac, right? Like, why would you send those letters? You could have just not sent anything and nobody would have any idea who you might be. But that's kind of part of the sexual thrill.
Yeah.
And Jane did later on go on to say that it gave her a sexual thrill to be in charge of these people's lives and keep them on the edge, and then to ultimately take their lives, which is why she would get into bed with them, and it was like very intimate.
Wow.
Yeah. So she goes back to Cambridge, but now her pristine reputation is a little tarnished, and she does, like I said, pretty quickly get fired from that establishment as well. But since these are her only two references, She's not sure she can get another job at like a major hospital. And she makes the decision to move into private nursing, to be like an at-home nurse.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
For the patient.
So now she's working with private patients and not dealing with hospitals. There's no supervisors. There's nobody checking in on what meds she's using or how much she's using. And because she had worked at these very prestigious hospitals, these families were excited to hire her. They were like, yeah, this is great.
Maybe they should have like called her references.
This is the 1800s.
Damn. Yeah.
Let's remember that.
Yeah. Write a letter to the references. Send out a carrier pigeon. I don't know, something.
Get the pigeons on this,
please.
Stat. So she is hired for the most part by families that have an elderly relative, and she is the main caretaker for these elderly relatives.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these patients are already dying, like it's basically hospice care, and they're so excited to hire her. And when bad things start happening, when, it's already people who are old and kind of not in a great place.
And also, these are families that they don't work in hospitals, so they probably have no idea what she could be doing.
Exactly.
They just trust her.
Exactly. So she does end up moving in with an elderly couple, Israel and Lovely Dunham.
Lovely.
Her name was Lovely. Isn't that cute? So at first she slowly poisons Israel to death.
Oh my God.
And then about a year later, she kills Lovely as well. But since she killed both of them, the family was like, hey, you got to get the fuck out of the house. Like, they're both dead now. Obviously, they didn't know that
she was the cause.
Yeah. But she does end up moving in with her ex-foster sister, Elizabeth Brigham, who was older than her. She promptly begins to poison and slowly kills over the next few weeks. She actually later claims that she had built up an animosity towards Elizabeth over the years because she felt like her life was much better than her own. And that was actually why she killed her. And this was the only person that she murdered that was personal for her. Like the other ones were just about power and control, right? And like once again, like if we talk about the psychology of this is somebody who grew up with no control over their life at all.
Yeah.
And so is now using that desire for control and power, obviously in the most evil way that you can, over people who are even more powerless than her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's, how do I say this? Not that I understand why, but it all makes sense. Like why she feels like she needs to do this because of how she grew up. But at the same time, I'm like, not everybody turns evil.
No. And what do I always say? An understanding of the psychology or the history behind people who do terrible things can inform, but it cannot excuse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it is good to inform because then we can maybe prevent things like this by preventing the history that caused someone to do this.
Yes.
Right? But it does not excuse. It does not give an excuse for bad behavior or evil behavior because there are plenty of people who go through terrible things and don't become serial killers.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. It can inform but not excuse.
Love that.
Yeah. So year after year, Jane just keeps moving in with older people, and people just assumed when they died that it was their time because, like I said, a lot of the time, these people were just already very close to the end.
Yeah. And then she's just like, oh, I just happened to be so lucky enough to be there for them during their last days.
Well, and it's like, yeah, if you're a hospice nurse, of course, a lot of your patients are going to die.
Yeah, it happens.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's literally, I mean, you move in, once people get to hospice care, that's usually when they're at the very tail end of their life.
And like this is back in the 1800s, and so there's not exactly a lot of like regulation. I mean, we know people get abused and horrible things happen today.
Yes.
So now imagine she just is like basically this nurse that's moving from house to house living with these older people. And a lot of them were in like their 70s and 80s.
In the 1800s.
Little did the families of these people who are dying know that Jane was actually drugging them and then slipping into bed with them to hold them as they died. Like I said before, she did claim that these deaths gave her some kind of sexual gratification. And she would let people go in and out of consciousness as she watched because it was some sort of like edging
Oh my God.
thing for her, like
oh my God.
to get them like as close to death as she could, and then like bring them back, and then like get them as close to death as she could.
Oh, she.
I've seen her described as the like, which we've seen a lot. This is a common term for nurses who kill, where they call them like the angel of mercy.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that fits for her, because usually I feel like those are people who delude themselves into thinking that they're helping these people by killing them.
Yeah, I was gonna say she, like, we've heard stories, of course, of people that do this, and she's on another level.
Yeah. So she ends up meeting this family called the Davises, and she worked for them, and she even formed like a very close bond with this family. She would pay them rent to live in a back house, and one day Jane owed them some money, and when the mother of the Davis family, her name was Maddie, which her name is Maddie, but it's spelled Mattie. I feel like
That's kind of cute.
really cute way
That's
to
really
spell it.
fucking
Yeah,
cute.
for a girl. That's really cute. Came to the house to collect the money that she owed. I read in multiple different sources, like one person said it was like back rent, another person said it was she had borrowed money from them to do something and she didn't pay them back. Once again, 1800s. Either way, she owed them like $400,
Okay.
and she didn't have it. So when Maddie came into the house, Jane offered her something to drink, and she was like, let me give you this glass of mineral water. I'm going to go in the back, and I have the money in the bedroom. So I'm just going to go collect it. You sit here. It's a hot day. Enjoy.
Don't take the drink.
But little did Maddie know that the mineral water was actually laced with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next 2 weeks, Maddie was sick, coming in and out of consciousness, very ill. And like I said, it was the summer, so they weren't sure what she was sick with. And of course, who was there to take care of her and do everything that she needed? Jane.
Frickin' Jolly Jane.
Yeah. And then Maddie finally passed on July 4th, 1901, at the age of 61, which of course is not very old.
No. Maybe for back then.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of her other patients were like late 70s,
Yeah.
80s, which is a big difference.
But this is the one that I'm assuming got eyebrows raising. Like,
Yes.
oh, what's happening
Well,
here?
she, once again, I think she just got cocky, because wait till you
Oh,
hear what
boy.
she did.
Okay.
So the family is obviously devastated. They lost their matriarch. Apparently, Maddie was like kind of the person who was in charge of the whole family, and they didn't know what to do. So they actually ended up inviting Jane into their home to live with them, to help like pick up the slack from Maddie's death. And very quickly, Genevieve Gordon, who was the daughter of Maddie and Alden, died on July 30th of an unknown illness.
Okay.
There were actually rumors around town that Genevieve had completed suicide because she was so devastated about her mother's passing, but that was not the case.
What's the truth?
Can you guess that Jane
I was gonna say I'm
was
gonna
drugging her?
assume that Jolly Jane had something to do with this.
And then in very quick succession, this family started dropping like flies. So Alden, who was the dad, died on August 8th. Minnie, who was the last child, died on August 13th, 1901.
All in the same year.
Yes.
Jane, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Jane even said later on, like in interviews, she was like, that's where I fucked up, basically. Like, I shouldn't have killed that family, but she thought she could do whatever she wanted. She thought she thought she would just get away with it.
Well, she got away with so many other things for so long.
Yeah. So obviously there was an investigation, but they couldn't prove anything of like what happened to this family. And so they thought like maybe there was some like crazy illness that just ran through all of them, and they were so lucky to have Jane there to take care of them, right? When the toxicology exam comes back and reveals that Minnie had actually been poisoned, Minnie's father-in-law comes forward with a story.
Tell me the story.
So he had been outside, and this is when Minnie was sick and staying in the house, and obviously like basically everybody's staying together. And Minnie's father-in-law had seen through a window Jane injecting Minnie with something.
And he didn't say anything.
At the time, I mean, she's a nurse.
Yeah, that's true.
So at the time, he just didn't really think that much of it. But obviously, when it comes out that she was poisoned and didn't die, like if it came out she died of a disease, he probably would have thought, oh, she was giving her medicine.
Yeah, yeah.
But once it comes out that she was poisoned.
And then all of a sudden he's like,
yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I'm sure there was like a moment of like, ruh-roh.
Yeah.
You know? So he tells the police that, and on October 29th, 1901, Jane was arrested for murder.
Damn.
At first, she completely denies everything that, you know, she's being accused of course. But she is held in prison, and by 1902, she actually confessed to over 31 murders.
Why'd she confess?
I don't know. She even like gave her motives. Like I said, like she said she derived a sexual thrill from the patients being near death, coming back to life, and then dying again. It was like some sort of like weird edging thing. And like you said, maybe she wanted to be caught.
I mean, that's what I always think with maybe not every single serial killer, but a lot of them. I'm like, when they start to get lazy towards the end, I'm like, oh, you wanted to get caught because you're bored.
Yeah, you're bored.
Yeah.
Well, and she also came out with other things that she had done. She admitted to poisoning a housekeeper so that she could steal her job. She poisoned her just enough not to kill her, but to make her seem drunk, so that she would get fired, and she could be like, so I'm who you should really hire. And she would even poison herself sometimes to seem sick, so that men in her life would take care of her and pamper her.
Okay.
Yeah, like she really just had like, she's fucked up. She's a fucked up individual.
Yeah. She was, you know, just so charming and telling all these elaborate stories, and everyone loved her. Like,
but
it's just so,
all of that was I'm gonna assume was an act, and also felt like she didn't have control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she had to perform, or else she wouldn't get the social graces that she felt she deserved, you know? So while she did admit to killing 31 people, it's suspected that she killed over 100.
Oh boy.
When just looking back at the records of the hospitals that she worked at, that is the idea of people.
It's so weird to me though. Once you admit to that many, why not just admit to all of them?
She might not even remember them all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because that's how, was it Israel Keys who also like didn't admit to all of them?
Yeah. Well, and also that's another form of control. It's another form of control for them. I'll give you these, but some are just for me.
Yeah.
Some are too private. And there's even, since I brought up and then you brought up again, Israel Keys, that was like a big thing. People were like, yeah, I think there are certain ones he didn't want to tell because they either didn't go how he wanted, or they were so personal and intimate that he didn't want to share them.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's only certain ones.
It's just so, I mean, it really is interesting.
Yeah.
Their minds and what they're like, what is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's themes, right? There's themes in stories like this where you're like, I understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
But I don't understand why it got there.
Mm-hmm.
Like why your answer was that.
Correct.
But that's why, I mean, the nature versus nurture theory all the time, right? Nurture can influence nature, but I think the nature is already there.
Mm-hmm.
You are who you are.
Yeah, 100%.
And if she was raised in a perfectly healthy household, she might have just been like a kind of controlling, like helicopter mom because she had issues with control, right?
Yeah.
But because she had this traumatic childhood, it sent these things that were already in her into overdrive, and she used them for bad. And then she, you know, was never given help or anything was available to her, which is once again why I think it's important to talk about these things. When we talk about people who do horrible things, we have to remember that there are influences that inform their decisions. And if we can avoid these influences as a society, if we can take care of kids that are in bad situations, or if we can give access to help for families that are going through trauma, addiction, things like that, we can avoid situations that allow this to thrive, like in the first place. Yes, it's great when somebody gets caught because they did something bad. Why don't we start trying to stop it at the root of the issue and stop the trauma that made them bad in the first place? And obviously you can't stop everything. Some people are just, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know enough about psychology, but I'm sure there's a very small percentage of people that are just born fucking rotten.
Yeah.
As shitty as that is to say.
No, I agree.
I'm firmly someone who believes that like people are inherently good and the world makes us bad, right?
There's definitely like some sort of percentage of people that
there has. I mean, just
naturally evil,
just statistically, who are just born fucking.
Because I mean,
fucked.
we've even covered stories of serial killers who seemingly had a great childhood.
Yeah,
and still did horrible things.
Yeah. So on June 23rd, 1901, they actually did rule that she was not guilty by reason of insanity.
Was it 1901 or 1902?
Oh, sorry, 1902.
Sorry, just based on the deaths and
Yes,
everything.
June 23rd, 1902. She was found not guilty, even though she confessed, by reason of insanity. She also had insisted upon her own sanity the entire time. She was like, nope, I knew exactly what I was doing.
I feel like she did.
Yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm not crazy. I'm
Like I think she's really smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And according to her, completely there. No delusions, nothing could have helped.
That is how it feels.
But because it was so insane and there was such a large number of potential victims, the jury just were like, she has to be insane.
Even though she's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, literally. And we've talked about this before where you're like, well, that person's just mentally ill. And I'm like, no, not always.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes when we tell these stories, though, I do think that in this case, I don't think she was.
yeah.
Like, I think she is very with it and there and aware of everything.
So she was committed to the Toppan Insane Hospital, where she lived until she died on August 17th, 1938, at the age of 84.
Wow.
Yeah. So she lived there for a very long time.
That is a very long
36
time.
years.
Yeah, holy shit.
And she died at 84, so she got caught in her 50s.
Wow.
Or late 40s. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a wild one.
Yeah. And there's so, like, this is one of those ones where, like, I could
go on
and talk about each individual victim and, like, her connection to them. But there's literally so many that it's impossible.
Yeah.
But there also isn't a ton of, like, easily findable breakdowns of this whole story.
Yeah.
It was harder to find stuff than I thought. Like, I had to get past a few paywalls.
You always got to get past those paywalls, girl. Story of my life. I have subscribed to way too many things, and then it comes out of my account, and I go, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, you're like, why am I subscribed to the New England Journal of
Literally,
Medicine?
I think the Yorkshire Post or something always pops up on my thing.
They still give you notifications, push notifications
all the time.
Yeah.
This was a very interesting one.
Yeah. Yeah, the Angel of Death or Angel of Mercy ones to me are always very. There's just something so unique and terrifying.
Very terrifying.
Because that's the most vulnerable you can be. Like, being in a hospital is so scary. And,
I hate
and
hospitals.
so you're so vulnerable. You literally have your life in these people's hands. Like, it's so stressful.
And it's the one person that you should be able to trust.
You should feel like you should trust. Yeah, it's like and she was so kind and charismatic that people were like, probably felt really at ease with her, and they probably had no suspicion at all, even while they were dying themselves, which is just so upsetting.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, so let's move on from that trauma.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, listen, great, fascinating story.
Fascinating. That's a good way to put it.
Fascinating. Yes,
I agree.
So it is April.
It is April.
It's April. We are hippity hoppitying over into Easter.
Yes.
Yeah, which neither one of us probably celebrates Easter anymore.
I'm doing a Easter picnic.
Are you? Mm-hmm. Are you hiding eggs?
No, but I could.
Oh my, you should.
It's actually supposed to rain that weekend, so it probably won't be a picnic anymore. But
who are you picnicking with?
With Kate and Connie.
Wow.
You were going to be invited, but you're out of town.
I am out of town.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
But I'm going to make some good food, and
it's fine.
Once again, you're the one who's leaving.
I know. I'm out of town, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to have FOMO about it. Okay?
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, I literally was like going to invite you, and the day that I was going to invite you, you were like, I'm going to be out of town for Easter weekend, just so you know. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Anyway. Whatever. So it's Easter week, guys. The best time of the year because those caramel Cadbury eggs go on sale. And I fucking love those things.
Actually love Easter.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
I love spring.
Okay.
It means it's almost my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom used to make the best food on Easter.
Easter specifically.
So Easter was our holiday. We would go to different family members, right, for different holidays. And Easter was my mom's holiday. We did baby back ribs with barbecue sauce,
Okay.
cheesy potatoes,
Okay.
deviled eggs. Like, just the food was so fucking good.
Well, definitely deviled eggs. Eggs
Yeah.
are a big
I know that like
Easter thing.
ribs are like not traditional, but we had an outdoor grill, and the weather would be really nice. It would be Arizona, and so April was like the one month it was like nice to be outside. It wasn't too hot yet, and we had a pool and stuff. And so my parents would grill ribs. My mom and dad grill ribs out there, and cheesy potatoes,
Delicious.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, it's so weird that, you know, like turkeys are the symbol of Thanksgiving and we eat them.
Yeah.
But rabbits are the symbol of Easter and we don't eat them.
Know what feels like an Easter meat? And I'm saying this as someone who's never even had this meat on Easter.
What?
For some reason, lamb. Like a rack of lamb feels like an Easter meat.
Because to me, Easter, like when you picture Easter, you picture like pastel colors and little bunnies and little cute lambs. Like that's what I picture.
Yeah. Know what I'm realizing? I just love holidays.
No, me too. Absolutely.
I just love any excuse to eat really good food and have a mimosa and chat with my friends and family.
And for the record, my story is not about Easter, but
I figured. I was like, we're going to be getting like a history of Easter, the dark history of Easter or something.
I did contemplate that, but no, it's not about Easter.
You just brought it up willy-nilly.
Well, not willy-nilly. I just felt like I was like looking into what I could cover, and I'm like, oh, it's Easter, like looking up things. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've never covered this story. That's so weird that we've never done this in 5 years. And it just felt appropriate.
And it's an Easter story?
Well, it has to do with bunnies.
Okay.
We're going to cover the legend of the Bunnyman.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't believe we've never covered that. I think we were saving it for our cryptid cross-country road trip.
Maybe, yeah.
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 But that lasted all of 10 states.
Yep. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since
Amanda had a mental breakdown about it, and we just were like, we're going to scrap it.
We always say we could start it back up again.
I know.
We just don't do it. So if you guys get to Kansas or whatever we got to, and you're like, where's the rest of that cryptid road trip?
I was going to say, we have one listener who religiously is like, can you bring back the cryptid road trip? But I'm like, maybe if there's 10 of you that were asking, even 10, I'll give you 10. 10 out of like 200,000 is not that many.
No. Anyway, we're talking about the Bunny Man, not the Easter Bunny, a different Bunny Man.
Hi ho, Bunny Man.
That's right. Hop, hop, hippity hop.
Hippity
Peter
hoppity.
Cottontail's on his way. So my sources for this were an article on fairfaxcounty.gov by Brian A. Conley, an article on All That's Interesting by Jessica O'Connor, InsideNova.com by Carrie Pugh, Atlas Obscura by Kim. Just
Ooh, Kim. So mysterious.
Kim. And then, of course, Wikipedia.
I've actually been reading a lot of articles recently that don't have names on them.
So many.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why sometimes I'll just be like, an article on this website, and I don't say anybody.
Yeah, it'll just say like staff or like whatever.
So this is one of Virginia's most popular urban legends. It might just be in like the northern area of Virginia, but it is one of those stories that like a lot of people that grew up in the area, they would tell around the campfire. They would tell at sleepovers to scare everyone. Like, ooh, the Bunny Man's gonna get you.
Have you ever been to Virginia?
I have. I've been to Virginia Beach.
Oh, nice.
With my ex-boyfriend who's a piece of shit.
You heard it here first, folks. For the 100th
You
time.
know who you are. They're like, she's still talking about him? Hasn't she been with her husband for 11 years?
Yes, she has.
Yes, I have. And I am still talking about the boyfriend before him. So, yeah, like I said, this is kind of one of those urban legends that it's like local to Virginia, and people would tell each other this at sleepovers. They would like to just scare everyone. But it is also one of those urban legends where there is that little like part of truth in there as well.
Yeah. Like Cropsy.
Exactly like Cropsy, who I covered on the Patreon. Yes.
Get on the Patreon.
Get on the Patreon.
Plug.
So in true urban legend fashion, there are multiple origin stories to this tale, and also just kind of different tellings of similar stories as well. So the first origin of how like the Bunny Man really came to be was that sometime in 1904, there was a man who was a patient at a mental institution in Clifton, Virginia, and one night he escapes and runs off into the woods. As the legend goes, he mutilated and ate the bodies of rabbits and then skinned them and wore their pelts and their dead little bunny bodies draped around him like a little outfit. And he would go off and venture into the night looking to murder kids and teenagers.
Okay. Very chic.
Very. He's like, get me on the cover of Vogue.
But my legs were too long.
The legend also says that the deep laughter of the bunny man can be heard echoing throughout the woods at night. That's like Santa Claus.
Yeah, they're doing kind of like a combo situation.
Yeah.
Here.
Can you? I feel like you can give me a good laugh.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. I would be scared if I heard it in the woods. Or is he like?
Said deep.
That's true. You're right.
So no, it
You're
wouldn't
right.
be like that at all.
I was just trying to think of something like that would scare me if I.
Would that scare you?
Yeah.
Have you heard that in the woods?
Anything would scare me if I heard it in the woods.
That's so true. You
Yeah.
could just hear, "Hey Amanda, it's me, Cassidy, your best friend. Do you want a glass of wine?"
Well, immediately I would think that you were a mimic or something.
Even if we went camping together.
Yes. I would not let you in the tent. I'd be like, nope, you're not Cassidy. Sorry. Gotta go.
I'm like, bitch, I just had to pee.
You're like, Amanda, it's literally me. You saw me 2 seconds
we
ago.
drove here together.
Like, nope, sorry. I don't believe you. So of course, like I said, this is one of those tales that, maybe parents would tell their kids to not get them to go into the woods at night for fear that the bunny man would find them and try to kill them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a La Llorona situation.
Exactly. Another version of the story that is kind of similar to the first one is that there was an asylum in the woods in Clifton. Don't know why there would be that, but there was. And the people in town were like, oh, we don't like this asylum in the middle of the woods. We don't want that there.
What?
Yeah.
That's so shocking.
That's
to me.
really weird that they wouldn't want their asylum in the middle of the woods, but they were like, we don't like this.
I mean, what would you rather have it in the middle of your city?
No, they would probably petition to have it removed from there too, I would assume.
Fucking NIMBYs.
Yeah, but they were like, we got to get this out of here. So they petitioned to have it removed and it worked. So all the patients were being transported to the local nearby prison because, as we know, what do you do with folks that are in need of special care? You put them in prison.
Throw them in prison where they get worse. And everything's bad.
No, it's going to fix everything, Cass. You know how this works.
Haven't you seen?
Come on.
Look at our society.
Look around.
It's working so fucking well.
Ask the squirrels.
Ask the squirrels know.
They know.
They'll fucking throw you in prison easy.
That's right. So the patients, they all get loaded onto a bus and they start heading out to the prison. And on the way, the bus driver swerves off the road, the bus skids and crashes, and all the patients escape. As the days go on, the police find each patient like in different areas of the town. They wrangle them up, they bring them to prison. But the only one they can't find is a man named Douglas Griffin.
Ruh-roh.
So while the police are searching around the area for Douglas, days go by, weeks go by, months go by, they cannot find him. But soon, they find a trail of mutilated bunny carcasses scattered throughout the woods and under the Colchester Overpass Bridge.
That's his signature calling card.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he is the bunny man.
Yeah, dirt.
Yeah. Douglas was never found, but the legend of him being the bunny man, which was a man who lives in the woods near this bridge and eats bunny rabbits, just spurred another version of this legend. He does kill people too, but mostly eating the bunny rabbits.
With an axe, right?
Well, we'll get there.
I feel like I vaguely remember watching an episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved about this.
Probably.
Or something.
I would
where they go
assume.
there.
Yeah, Ghost Hunt Adventures.
Well, I know Ghost Adventures. Oh, Ghost Adventures went there?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I was like, I know I've seen some sort of show.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to taunt the bunny man.
I would assume it was Ghost Adventures, but honestly, maybe also BuzzFeed Unsolved probably went
Yeah,
there.
for some reason I can picture Shane from Shane and Ryan.
That's Goatman's Bridge.
That's Goat Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're close though.
I'm combining legends.
And animals.
And animals.
So,
and influencers.
that's right. But the more prominent story that is surrounding the Bunny Man is that he is an escaped inmate from the prison, dressed in a bunny costume, carrying around a hatchet or an axe. So this story goes that on October 19th, 1970, so a lot later than the previous story, which was all the way back in 1904.
Yeah.
But on this night, a cadet at the U.S. Air Force Academy named Robert Bennett and his fiance were driving around in the rural area of Burke, Virginia. And I actually looked up Burke, Virginia, very much like my hometown, just like really dark roads, a lot of trees, a lot of greenery.
Yeah, the East Coast is crazy because it's like you get 10 minutes out of a city and suddenly there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And like moss.
And like once it's dark, there's no lights. There's no light posts.
Yeah, no street lights.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's crazy.
Where like where I'm from in Arizona, just like all just like grid pattern
Yeah.
and dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's around midnight and they're coming back from a football game when Robert decides that it's time to stop at his uncle's house to just pop in and say hello, which it is midnight. So I don't know who the fuck's uncle is awake at midnight ready for a simple pop in.
I don't know.
Well, couldn't be me. Imagine you were trying to pop in at midnight.
I'm just saying someone could potentially pop in to me on midnight on like a Friday.
Yeah, but like someone's like older uncle.
Yeah.
It's like a simple pop in midnight.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not everyone goes to bed at 9 p.m.
No,
Amanda.
you're right. I mean,
Especially on like, it seems like it's a Friday night, right?
probably, yeah.
Went to a
I mean,
football
you
game or
sliced
whatever.
your finger open last night at 1 a.m. and I was not awake.
I did do that.
So
And it's healing, guys. I feel it healing.
So just so you guys are aware, you could pop into Cassidy's, cannot pop into mine. Okay?
Don't pop in to me. I own a gun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I was literally like, you do?
Do not own a gun.
But anyway, according to Robert, that's what they did. So they get to his uncle's house. He parks his car in a field across the street from his uncle's house, which was on Guinea Road.
Okay.
And just as Robert and his fiance were about to open the car doors to get out, they both see something scurry across their back window.
Not a scurry.
A scurry. And just as they go to turn their heads to look at whatever's scurrying behind them, there's a loud crash and the window in the passenger seat, like the front seat where Robert's fiance was sitting, shatters and the glass falls all over the place.
Hell no.
So Robert, luckily, the engine was still on. He fucking flips that bitch up and he starts to fucking drive away as fast as possible. And that's when they hear a man screaming, "You're on private property. I have your tag number."
Okay.
So allegedly, as they were driving away, Robert's fiance had turned back to look at the man who was screaming at them. And she recalls seeing someone wearing a white bunny costume with long bunny ears dangling down.
Okay.
So they go to the police and they report this situation, obviously. And right after this, they find a hatchet on the floor of their car.
Oh, like that's what busted the
so
window?
he bashed in the window with the hatchet.
Okay.
And they hand this over to the police as well.
Yeah.
10 days later, on October 29th, a security guard for a construction company named Paul Phillips reported seeing a man in a gray, black, and white rabbit costume standing on the porch of a home that they were working on, like that was under construction, around 10:30 p.m. The home was also on Guinea Road, so the same road that Robert had seen.
Yeah,
in.
so similar area.
Yes. So Phillips reports that the man in the costume screamed to him, "You're trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop your head off."
Okay, so he's having an emotional connection to these lands despite them not being his.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Which we have no idea what the motive is here.
Yeah. I mean, could just be cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the man is holding up a hatchet. So Phillips sees this and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he turns around, he runs to go get his gun. But when he came back, the man in the rabbit costume had disappeared.
Got it.
So he did allegedly tell the police in his report that the suspect was around 20 years old, 5'8", and around 175 pounds, which I don't see how that's possible because he was literally wearing a bunny costume.
Yeah, not exactly
what,
form-fitting.
sir, what did you say?
Yeah.
How would you know anything? So I don't think I would really trust his description too much on that one.
Well, but also probably the cops were like, how much do you think you weighed? And you go, I don't know, 175 pounds.
Yeah, like give me something,
yeah,
buddy.
like
yeah,
people just say things when you ask.
yeah. But the fact that there are plenty of newspaper articles about both of these reports, along with a photo of the alleged hatchet from Robert Bennett's car that I don't know where it's hanging up. There's like a photo of it kind of hanging up on something with a newspaper clipping. And it's hanging up somewhere in Fairfax County. But that turns this like urban legend into a true horror story.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
So like you said earlier, it's very much like Cropsey.
Yeah,
like half legend, half truth.
Cropsey-esque.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once these two incidents were reported in the news, obviously like shit started spreading like crazy, and the local police started receiving tons of reports of Bunnyman sightings. Journalists and investigators also dug up tons of like different murders from all throughout the years, like since 1904 and on, that people claim could have been connected to the real life Bunnyman just based on like proximity and how they were killed, like with an axe or a hatchet.
Yes, yeah.
Now, to further this legend and the stories, if you've heard of the Bunnyman, then you've also heard of Bunnyman Bridge, which I briefly mentioned earlier.
Why do they all have a bridge? Goatman's got a bridge.
They need a bridge.
Got a bridge.
They need it.
You know what? I get it. If I could have a bridge, I would also have one.
I mean, bridges are like kind of freaky.
They are, and they're way more common, I feel like, on the East Coast.
That is true. Because like, for instance, Bunnyman Bridge is not really a bridge. Like, it's not like a big ass bridge over water or anything. It's like a little tiny tunnel overpass thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
like
they call it a bridge.
That's like way more common.
Yeah.
I feel like on the East Coast than it is here.
Yeah. So the original name of this bridge is the Colchester Overpass. It's a 1-lane concrete tunnel. It's very spooky looking. I think I'll show you a picture of it.
Ugh, also 1-lane tunnel. I hate that. Is there even any water involved?
No, there's no water.
That's not a bridge.
Yeah, it's a bridge. It's an overpass.
Oh, okay.
See it?
So that's the road above. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought the road was the tunnel.
No. So, well, there is the road under the tunnel that you can also drive through, but this is the road.
Got it.
Above
Okay,
it.
yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also,
I got confused.
Look at this picture. I don't know who.
The bunny.
The bunny.
The bunny.
The bunny.
Ooh, I love the bunny. I don't love my mama or my daddy,
I
just
love
the bunny.
Wow.
VeggieTales. Oh my God. I just had a recovered fucking memory.
I think we've sang that on this podcast before, actually.
Guys, wow.
That was really good.
That's a good one. Can I stream VeggieTales anywhere?
Probably. I would say so. I would say Hulu.
I loved that episode.
The bunny.
That's the Easter episode.
The bunny.
Ooh, I love the bunny.
That was really amazing.
We're going to get copyright
That's
infringement.
Okay. I don't care.
If you're real Christians, you won't care.
Happy Easter. But the interesting thing about the Bunnyman Bridge, so even though it is technically called the Colchester Overpass, if you put Bunnyman Bridge into Google Maps, it pops up.
That pops up, yeah.
Yes, and it will take you straight there. The bunny.
I can take you there.
So to go along with both of the origins of the Bunnyman, the locals say that some of the victims of the Bunnyman were often found on the overpass or inside the tunnel. So that's like why this is the Bunnyman Bridge. Sometimes they were just found dead. One story was told of a man that was found clutching the hatchet that the Bunnyman actually used to kill him.
Ooh, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. Others say that the Bunnyman would hang the carcasses of the dead bunnies that he would eat on the overpass, so that they were hanging through the tunnels. So when cars drove through the tunnels, they had to go through.
And they would get bloody
the
and
dead
stuff.
bunnies. Yeah. And even worse, the Bunnyman is also said to hang the bodies of teenagers on the overpass as well. Hates those teenagers.
Who doesn't?
Those dang kids.
Those pesky teens. I'm also afraid of teenagers.
Yeah. Well, the teenagers should be afraid of the Bunnyman.
Brother, I'm watching White Lotus season 1 right now.
There's always a pesky teenager in White Lotus.
Every time they show Sydney Sweeney and the other girl, they're supposed to be like 18 or 19 years old or whatever.
You want to just hit them?
No, I'm scared.
Oh.
When they're like giggling and making fun, like, oh my God.
They are scary.
Literally, there's nothing scarier than like, especially like a privileged, rich teenager.
And Sydney Sweeney plays that shit so well. Like it's too spot on.
Upsettingly well.
Really too spot on.
Yeah.
So legend has it that if you go to the Bunnyman Bridge on Halloween night and you say his name 3 times at the stroke of midnight, a man in a white rabbit suit holding a hatchet will appear and chase you away.
Sounds like we got to do that.
But that's only if you escape him. Because if not, he will slash your throat and hang your body off the bridge to dangle over the tunnel while cars drive by. You want that?
No, I'm saying I think I can outrun this motherfucker.
Well, we'll see about that.
This will be my who can run in front of a crowd test.
Yeah. Bunnies also, they are really fucking fast.
Bunnies are very fast.
And they hop. So can you do that? You said you can't
hop.
jump up in the air.
No, my vertical is like an inch and a half.
And bunnies can. So
yeah,
we'll see who's laughing now.
He's got me there.
We'll see who's laughing in the woods. So other people say that if you drive under the bridge at night and you stop in the tunnel, you turn your lights off, and then once you turn them back on, the Bunnyman is standing in front of your car.
I've heard that one before. Yeah.
And then I'm sure you could just drive and hit him.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? You think the Bunnyman can outrun a car?
I see roadkill all the time.
Yeah.
Bunnies are definitely getting hit by cars.
100%.
Yeah.
The Bunnyman Bridge was obviously a place where like the local teens in the area would like to hang out, smoke weed, drink, like be little rebels, not caring about the urban legend. But there are a lot of kids and teenagers that to this day are very scared of the legend. And even just being near the bridge, especially at night or on Halloween, is just like hell no to them.
That would be you.
Yeah. I don't even want to go to Virginia because of this.
She's staying out of the whole
because
damn
of
state.
this and my ex-boyfriend that took me there.
She's like, between the Virginia Beach incident and the Bunnyman.
Goodbye.
Sorry, Virginia.
Sorry, I love you, but from afar. And even though I do think that there was, like, I actually do believe that there was a serial killer in the area based on the police reports and like actual physical evidence.
Yeah.
That was, you know, a guy wearing a bunny costume with a hatchet. Today, the legend does seem to be more paranormal.
Yeah.
Like the spirit of the Bunnyman is still there and he will kill you. And there are a lot of signs on the bridge that try to deter people from hanging out there. They say you'll get a $250 fine if you know, are caught trespassing or
trespassing. It's public land.
Well, the Bunnyman doesn't like people trespassing on his property. That's why he keeps on yelling at you. Okay.
The fine goes directly to the Bunnyman.
Oh, yeah. He's collecting those.
He's the one putting up the signs.
100%. He's collecting those dollar bills. Are you kidding?
He's just like the Grinch.
Stay out of my tunnel. But no, trespassing more along the lines of like, if you're a kid and you're sitting there drinking, smoking weed, or if you stop your car there under the tunnel, people
doesn't
are like,
even look like that fun of a spot to do any of those things.
It looks so fucking scary. I would not.
Just looks so small. It doesn't look like it's like a fun place to hang out.
Well, for fucking kids in a small town with nothing to do.
Yeah, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the shit right there.
That's true. We hung out at the weirdest fucking places. We used to hang out at this place called the Pits.
There you go.
And it was literally like this construction site that had been abandoned for like 10 years. And so they had dug all the pits and like laid a bunch of concrete, but then they never finished it, like ran out of money or whatever. And we would just like go and hang out there.
So why are you talking shit on Bunnyman Bridge?
Well, the pits were very big.
Well, maybe they like a more intimate setting. Okay. They like to be closer together. What do you mean? So people do still try to sneak, you know, around the little bridge. Like I said, it is very creepy looking. One guy said that when he was a teenager, he would go over there. And from his experience, once they would get to the bridge, all cell phone signals would stop working.
That's same with the Goatman Bridge, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. These fucking animal bridges, dude.
The animals are doing something.
Gotta get AT&T on that.
Some people say that if you take a picture of the bridge at midnight on Halloween, when you look back at the picture, you'll see the rabbit carcasses and the dead teenagers hanging from the overpass in the photo, but you wouldn't have seen it in real life.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. So all in all, there is truth to the story. But like I said, it's very urban legendy and paranormal as the years have gone on. The local establishments also seem to really enjoy the legend. There's a store that sells a t-shirt that says "The Bunny Man Lives."
Very good.
And then a block away from Guinea Road, which is the initial place where the police reports were, there's a brewery called the BUNNYMAN Brewery.
Oh, see, that's where I want to go.
Yeah. And their tagline on their website says, "Urban legends, local stories, and serious quality beer."
I believe them.
I believe them too.
I'm into it.
I believe in the BUNNYMAN and I believe them.
And I believe in their serious quality beer.
There's also a movie series called The BUNNYMAN. There's like 3 movies.
Where can I witness these?
You got to Google it where you can stream it.
They're just called The BUNNYMAN?
The first one is called The BUNNYMAN, I believe. The third one I know is called BUNNYMAN Vengeance.
Oh my God, I love this.
Obviously about a serial killer dressed in a BUNNYMAN
Oh yeah, it came out in
costume,
2011.
Killing people with a hatchet.
Oh, there's multiple.
Yeah, I said there's 3.
No. I think there's like these are not connected. There's BUNNYMAN film from 2011, and then there's Bunny Dash Man from 2025.
Oh,
but that one's about a rapper.
okay. One's about a rabbit. One's about a rapper.
BUNNYMAN Vengeance.
Yeah, BUNNYMAN
2,
Vengeance is the third one.
Bunny the Killer Thing. There's a lot of things happening.
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of things for you to take a look at on there.
Wow. Well, I know what I'm doing tonight.
And then also, you've seen the movie Donnie Darko with your man.
Love Donnie Darko. Love Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't care what you Swifties say. I love him.
Allegedly, one of the characters in Donnie Darko was based off the BUNNYMAN.
Well, probably the bunny. Frank.
Yeah.
Have you never seen that movie?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It has your favorite, Maggie Gyllenhaal, in it too.
Shut your dirty mouth. So, if you celebrate Easter and you leave out carrots or eggs or rabbit food for the Easter bunny to come into your house, to hip hop into your house, into your kids' rooms to deliver presents,
A stranger.
just know it really could be the BUNNYMAN. And he could fucking...
So those cookies better be fucking good, or else...
Yeah. He will just fucking hack
Dunzo.
your children to death. So really be fucking aware of who you're letting into your house, okay? You think it's okay for a fucking 8-foot tall bunny to just hop into your kid's room in the middle of the night when they're sleeping?
Everybody wants a deity in their house until the deity's mass murdering your children.
Funny story really quick just about the Easter bunny.
Yeah.
My cousin Gerard, my cousin Jen, his wife, listens to the pod. Hello, Jen. When he was a kid, he would put a note on his door. He would lock his door for Easter and put a note on the door that was addressed to the Easter bunny, and it said, "Please put my Easter basket in the living room," because he didn't want him coming into this room.
I don't need you here.
Yeah, he was like, "I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to see you. You can leave my present in the other room. Thank you so much."
I do love an Easter basket.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, that's fun.
My mom, I mean, I'm sure your mom did too, but like just the
absolutely.
prettiest, most elaborate,
Mm-hmm.
like the fucking pink what is it called?
Cellophane.
Cellophane, like shiny. Oh God, that was fun.
And we like had our individual baskets similar to like your stockings.
Yeah.
That you would have every year that would get filled. Yeah, very fun.
So fun.
You would leave your empty basket out, and then you would come and they would be filled.
And then the Easter bunny filled it up.
And then you get to eat ribs.
Exactly.
Baby back ribs.
Or baby back bunnies. Who knows?
Or baby back bunnies. We don't know.
We don't know what you guys
We don't
do.
know you.
But
I don't
yeah,
know your style.
that's the BUNNYMAN. So hope you guys
Love it.
hope it's nice for Easter.
Happy Easter.
A nice story for Easter.
He is risen and he is the bunny man.
And he is here to hack away at your children and tie them up
To kill
on
your
a
teenagers.
bridge. Okay? You're welcome.
Oh, I do love a deity or a cryptid whose main foe is teenagers, because
Same. Yeah.
That's just like me for real.
That could be you one day.
God willing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right. Well, how about we round this out with a listener note?
Yes.
This was actually sent via mail, so we felt like we had to
Yeah.
read
This
it.
is snail mail, baby.
We got this in our P.O. box, dude. All right? Which we do have a P.O. box.
We do.
And this is from Rabia or Rabia. Do we know which way to say it?
I'm not totally sure.
I had to put my glasses on for this one.
I know.
And also, excuse me if I get a little emotional.
It's a very good letter.
All right. So this is from Rabia, who also sent us some really cool packets of wildflower seeds and different beautiful flowers. Hello, cool ladies. Thank you so much for the amazing stickers that you have sent me. They will definitely be getting in or going into my journal. I hope you both enjoyed the Ginology book. Sent us a book about gin. Amazing. It's so cool. It's sitting on my desk at home right now. And it was full of very interesting stories. Everyone always says they keep going on about hot fairy lords or whatever, but give me a hot gin any day. I also wanted to thank you for speaking up about Palestine and the genocide that is being committed by Israel and backed by the US. Ever since 9/11, I've seen the Islamophobia and xenophobia grow towards anyone that is not, quote unquote, American looking. I mean, it's not surprising after learning about American history. I was lucky to grow up in a household that watched not only American news, but also international news. And it was shocking to see the difference in the coverage during the Iraq War and then now during the genocide in Palestine. Now, just just as back then, all I see are innocent women, men, and children being murdered in the name of capitalism and colonialism. Palestine is a graveyard of children who just wanted to play, dream, and grow with their families. Earth is a damn miracle. Life itself should be impossible. But our government and the people destroy it without a second thought. I can think of no bigger crime or sin than the spilling of innocent blood due to hatred and ignorance. The reason I included flower seeds is because I am blessed and privileged to be able to grow a garden. When I was in the deepest pits of my depression, I literally could not care about anything. But one day I went into my backyard and saw blah and brown everywhere, and so I started gardening. I threw myself into bringing life into an empty garden, and that's also when I started listening to your podcast while I planted, weeded, and watered my little Eden. Seeing the destruction in Gaza and the loss of life, human and natural, has been hard to watch the last 18 months. While I get to build my little Eden, someone else's is being destroyed. While I get to see my flowers grow and bloom, someone else has to watch their children die. While I get to sit in my sanctuary and have peace, someone else is displaced and starving. It is unbearable to watch this man-made suffering and to know that I cannot stop it. All I can do is make my voice heard and do good with what I have. I hope one day that Palestine is filled with gardens and flowers, and children can play in the grassy fields and pick wildflowers for their mothers. I hope that one day I can plant a flower in Palestine and help it rebuild. I hope to see so much life and nature in the Middle East that the mass graves are just echoes of the past and not a harsh reality of the now. If we all focus on planting gardens and not bombs, the world would be so beautiful. I hope you grow these flowers, and as they bloom, they remind you of better days and that better days are ahead. Flower beds are not mass graves, children picking wildflowers and not starvation, bountiful harvests and not piles of rubble, peace and not war. Thank you, ladies, for being a voice of reason and being vocal about human rights always. I wish you every blessing in the world. P.S. Nothing paranormal, spooky, or supernatural has ever happened to me, so I guess I will just live vicariously through all of these cool kids. P.S. I would have written this in my handwriting, but I've been told that it is awful. Good luck to the archaeologist who discovers my journals. Feel free to share this. I just thought that was really great.
We read this actually earlier in the car, and we both just looked at each other and we were like, what a beautiful letter to write and send us.
And like she said, we do not have the means, the influence, the money to stop horrible things, but all we do have is our voice. Mm-hmm. And so we do encourage people to, and like we have since the beginning, and we have always tried to ourselves, speak up about things that are happening in the world. And I do think that that's like a really important part about having any sort of platform, whether it's 4 people or 400 million people. Mm-hmm. If you have the opportunity to speak up and speak out, I think you should. And that was just really beautiful. And I do agree, like, how wonderful would the world be if we all started taking care of the planet more than we were fighting each other?
Yeah. Literally, like, your words were so beautiful. And I hope that everyone listening also, it resonates with them. Guys. Yeah.
And it also just makes me so happy that we have cultivated like a community of very caring, very optimistic, and also very thoughtful people, because we get more letters and emails and stuff like this than we do hate mail, which I think is very rare for people on the internet. Like, people on the internet are mean and cruel.
Yeah.
But we get so much positivity, and we get so many very thoughtful and just beautiful messages that it outweighs anything negative that we experience on the internet. And like, being women who have opinions on the internet, that is already a difficult thing to do. We get so much positivity, like it literally outweighs it like 10 to none. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And just know, like, we read everything you guys send us. We really do. And we really appreciate you guys. And yeah, I just thought that was a really beautiful letter.
I completely agree.
And I'm definitely gonna go plant those wildflower seeds that you gave us.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, if you guys would ever like to send us a note or a letter, you can do that at dtkpod.com/contact. You can also find our PO box there if you ever want to send us a note or a letter. And we just want you guys to know that we appreciate you so much. And we hope you have a wonderful Easter and a wonderful spring and a time of rebirth, and that you are just having the best time ever.
Eat so many Cadbury caramel eggs.
Get them while you can.
Please.
You got to get them while you can.
And then the second Easter is over, everything's on sale.
Oh, that's when I go crazy.
That's the best.
I was literally pre-shopping in the Easter aisle at my local corner store the other day. I was like,
what will I get next week?
Oh, they got the Fave Reds that's my favorite for Starburst. Fave Reds.
Oh
my gosh, so good. Because it's only like the pink, red, and
I'm a yellow.
I know. But you know, I like the red, pink, and like those ones. And I was like, ooh, there's a lot of those left. I bet they're going to be on sale next week.
It does suck because the Cadbury eggs always go. Everyone fucking loves those things.
Yeah, they run out of those.
I know. I need to get some.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you know that we want nothing but prosperity and wonderfulness for all of you. And I hope you're having an amazing beginning to your year, despite how scary things might seem.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you punishing yourself or suffering personally does not make the rest of the world better, right? So we do what we can. We try to find joy in little things, and we continue on. But most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.